A lot of times when God puts a promise in your heart and when God has a destiny for you to fulfill, that destiny is going to impact a lot of people, and the enemy will start fighting you. He will start playing tricks on your mind. It will cause situations to make you feel as if you're not hearing right from God, to make you start doubting that God even gave you this promise, to make you think that you're hearing wrong, that you did not clearly hear from God, that promise was not from God, that you're on the wrong path, that you're just, you're insane, or he'll try to make you become discouraged and frustrated where you will give up hope. And once you give up hope, it's like, okay, now he has you. He can take that promise from you. He can keep you from receiving what it is that God imparted into you. It's like being pregnant with a baby and someone terminates the pregnancy. So the enemy cannot terminate our pregnancy. He can cause blockages. He can cause delays. He can cause hindrances and setbacks, but he cannot terminate the promise and plans that God has for us unless we willingly give up on it or we willingly abort the pregnancy. And so the enemy will start playing tricks on you and making you think that, okay, this is not going to happen. He'll make you think it is too impossible to happen, or that you're insane, that you do not hear clearly from God, that God did not tell you whatever it is that you're trusting God for, and he'll want you to start giving up hope. He'll try to cause you to become dissuaded. So he'll present stumbling blocks or hardships and struggles or barriers and blockages. Even though you know you're on the right path, for some reason things are not moving the way it's supposed to because the enemy has set out demonic blockages and someone else is holding on to it. Because see, the enemy wants to take things from us. He wants to take our purpose. He wants to take our joy. He wants to take our promises. He wants to take the destinies and plans that God has for our lives because he does not want God's work to be fulfilled. And I talked about this before. And so when I was coming down here, many of you who've been following my channel, I've been down here in this city now for over a week. And I've been out on the streets majority of the time. And I'm like, Lord, why am I sleeping outside? And last night, like, the enemy was just playing tricks on my mind because I was sleeping outside in this park, even though it was a safe setting. I didn't know anything about this place, okay? But God has been strategically placing me in places where I'm actually safe. Even though there might be people around, he's kept me safe. He's watched over me. And so last night, I started letting my fleshly emotions get the best of me because I'm sitting in this park, lying down, and all these men are coming around. There were no women around. There were just all these men coming throughout the park. Some of them were homeless, and others were just walking through the park or on their phone or whatever they're doing. And then the enemy started putting these thoughts in my head. I'm like, I'm not safe. I kept thinking, oh, this is going to happen. What if somebody, and then the enemy was putting thoughts in my head like, what if somebody comes and try to rape you at night while you're sleeping? And I was afraid, and I'm wondering, like, why am I here? Why am I sitting in this situation? And so, like, the Lord was showing me, it's like, people are fighting. They're fighting to take over the promise that he has for me. And another thing, that the enemy wants to take away the promise that God gives us, to give it to someone else so they can fulfill his purpose. So there are people who have been fighting to take over the destiny that God has given me. And so I started thinking, like, am I really hearing from God? Did God tell me to come down here? Because if I'm hearing from God, why am I down here in this situation? I have no money. I have nowhere to go. But God has me here, and he said he'll provide all my needs according to his riches and glory. But ever since I've been down here, we have not gone one day without eating, even if it's just one meal. My kids have been fed, okay, every single day. God has been taking care of all my needs, and the Lord had to show me that we might have been sleeping outside on the streets, but he has kept me safe. There's no harm has happened to us. Yes, my son is gone, but he's going to be returning. The thing is, he's kept us safe. No evil has happened to us. And not only that, when I was getting ready to go this morning, because see, I was going to take my daughter to get something to eat, because we were just to get her inside, because we were out all night. And so as I was walking, we're carrying all this luggage, dragging all this luggage. We got my son's luggage now, so it's even heavier because he's not here. And I have all this luggage. My daughter was struggling with her luggage. And so this gentleman came, and he asked my daughter need help, and he helped her with her luggage. So he started talking to me, and we were talking about, asked me, was I from here? And I told him no. I told him the situation, everything I'm going through. And, he's just telling me to keep trusting, keep having faith. And he gave me $10. I didn't ask for it. He just handed me $10 and stuff. And when I went into the restaurant, we went in to get something to eat from McDonald's, to get breakfast. And when I bought the food for me and my daughter, we just got a sandwich and juice a piece, and it's expensive, but it came up to $9 and some change. It was exactly around the same amount that this man had given us. So it paid for the breakfast. And so that's when I knew God was confirming that, yes, I'm on the right path. Yes, he led me here, even though I already knew that, but I was starting to doubt because what the enemy was throwing at me. But just because there's hardships and there's barriers right now, the Lord was trying to let me know that, hey, I'm on the right path. It took a while to get here, and he has been working out and planning everything. And so even though there's yes, turbulence, just like a flight that receives turbulence. There might be some rocky moments. There might be some blockages, and the breakthroughs are not coming in as quickly as they're supposed to, but I am on the right path. There's a struggle, there's a battle. And as you remember in the Bible, it talks about how we're wrestling not against flesh and blood. We're wrestling in the spiritual realm against all these principalities, all these powers, because see, the enemy does not want God's purpose to be fulfilled in the lives of his people. And many people, when they reach that point where they're receiving the turbulence, where they're receiving the setbacks or the blockages, and they're going through all these hardships and struggles, and things do not seem the way they're supposed to be, and it's like they're suffering, they start to give up hope, or they'll think that, hey, this can't be from God, and they'll end up foregoing the promise and forsaking it. They'll end up walking away from it and giving up and becoming discouraged. And it's like the Lord was trying to show me, hey, you got this far. I brought you this far. Trust in me, keep trusting. And so that's always been the hardest part for me. I do have faith, but when things take longer than they're supposed to, and it's like I'm seeing things that are occurring that I feel in my natural mind should not be happening, I start to waver in my faith. So the Lord is trying to strengthen my faith right now. And some of you, if you're facing something where God has told you to do something and you feel like you're being obedient, the Holy Spirit has spoken something to you, he's given you a promise, but you don't see things happening the way it's supposed to, and all these setbacks are happening in your life, or you might be presented with all these challenges, all these problems, all this suffering, all this opposition. It's like you're starting to wonder, hey, am I really hearing from God? Just let this be a confirmation that you're on the right path, that God is telling you to continue to keep wrestling. Okay, because it's a match, it's a wrestle. It's not gonna be easily overcome, even though you have the victory through Jesus Christ. We're gonna win, regardless, if we don't give up. That's why it says those who endure to the end shall be saved, because we already have the victory, because we are greater. We have the power of Jesus Christ. We have the power of God. And it says, greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. And what that means is, if we don't give up, we keep battling, we keep persevering, and we keep steadily fighting and constantly being steadfast in prayer and vigilance and moving forward and doing what it is that God told us to do, and we do not give up, we will have the victory.